Well, hello! I am the Godless Engineer, and tonight on the stand up, we're talking about a man who had his medicine replaced with the Bible. And then, we. um, Sorry about that. So we've got a man that replaced, that had his meds replaced with the Bible. And then we're still talking about the transgendered bathroom issue. And finally, we are talking about what do we have accomplished, and that includes a lying, a lying pastor, which shouldn't really surprise you, but yeah, there's a lying pastor in there, and it's not Joshua Fierstein, although some could argue he does lie a good bit. Um, okay. No privacy says never call penis junk in 10 minutes. I heard two heartless YouTubers call penis peni junk. I will make a note, I guess. Although I do refer to it as junk at times. I can't remember the last time I used that. Anyways, so what we're talking about tonight, first up, is a lying preacher. Not that lying preacher. This one. I recently made a video response to this particular guy. And you can find that on the channel here. It'll be linked afterwards. But basically, he's saying that an atheist professor or whatnot admitted that he didn't know whether or not God existed or not, so he's more of an agnostic rather than an atheist. In my video, I explain the difference between agnosticism and atheism, and how they're not the same thing, they're not in the same category, they're actually two different things. And then I address some other points that he brings up. Well, Seth of the Thinking Atheist, he actually put in the effort to contact the Cambridge Atheist and Agnostic Society up there, uh, and he come to find out that this guy didn't actually have a debate with anybody up there. He totally made this whole scenario up, which, if you think about it, really kind of meshes with how Christians are taught their dogma and everything in the first place. They're taught through stories. And so it's a pretty common thing to make up a story in order to teach a lesson. In this particular one, it's the lessons could be you shouldn't be afraid to talk about your beliefs. Atheists are really agnostics in disguise. You can come up with any number of different things that you could say, uh, where the story that he tells teaches something, and that's pretty much what the Bible is. Those will be parables, and the Bible is full of them. And some even argue, some people that are Christian, by the way, John Dominic Crossan, they actually argue that the entire Bible is nothing but parables that are there in order to teach a lesson. So, it doesn't really surprise me that he lied. At one point in my video, I suggested that he might not be truthful in it, but regardless of whether or not he is truthful, he was trying to teach something. And when he's trying to teach something, it doesn't matter if it was real or if it never happened, although he did take down the video because he lied, obviously. But it's not going to matter to the congregation. It's not going to matter to people that follow him on social media or are in the actual congregation there. So, regardless of whether or not it actually happened, he was trying to teach something to his congregation and to social media Christians in general. And so I felt that it was more important to attack that rather than show that it was false. But I'm really really glad that Seth went the extra mile and found out, got confirmation that this particular debate never happened. We still need people to do that regardless of what I think about the subject. Now, that's not the only thing that we have accomplished. A substitute teacher in Texas was as inflammatory as the image is, which I pulled this from a Pathos article, Hemant Mehta's, I believe, talking about it. But she wasn't fired by text message. Okay, that's not how the subsystem works. At least not in Texas, where she was let go from. Um, and no, wait, sorry, not Texas, Tennessee. How they get subs is, they basically contact an agency that supplies them, and they pretty much just told the agency not to send that particular person to their school again because she violated, the separation of church and state by showing a religious talk by it was a TED talk by Robert or Pastor Rick Warren. Now, it was totally out of line from her, but it's not just the fact that it was a religious thing, but it also went off the rails of what the actual teacher intended for her to teach. So she went the extra mile in order to push her religious agenda on her classmates that she was overseeing that day. So, they were firing her for multiple reasons. Not really firing her, though, just asking the sub agency not to, send her back to the school because we don't want her. And that's really how it should go. There should be no lawsuits. There should be no fighting in the courts with the school system in order to get this kind of thing to happen. It should just be, oh, look, they violated it. We're not going to hire you again for any more jobs. And that's really how it should be. There shouldn't be any kind of fighting in the court. But they, as you can tell, are posing this story to say that she got fired over text message, like she's some kind of, really bad ex that you just don't even want to meet face to face to tell her, fuck off, right? And so what you need to do, basically what happened was it was about 4:30 in the morning or so, I guess, when the decision was made or something like that, or something happened to provoke a text message being sent, but it was because it was at 4:30 in the morning that they didn't give her a call and tell her, we don't need you to come in. And so it wasn't that she got fired over text, it's just that she was told not to come in because her services weren't needed that day. So she wasn't fired. She still works for the sub agency, as far as I know. Like, they're still going to be sending her on jobs, just to not that particular place. But why this is in the what we have accomplished section is the fact that a Tennessee school actually relieved a sub of her duties in the middle of her subbing, and was doing it because she broke that separation of church and state. And I think that that's a wonderful thing, and the fact that the school district took it upon itself to do this. So that's why it's in this particular section. Next up, though, we have what are we working on? And this week it is all about the transgendered bathroom issue. This issue has been really rampant, across social media, in the news, and everything like that. It's really hard not to go a day without something happening on this particular field. And recently, as of last Friday, if you'll recall, President Obama issued some guidance on Title IX. And if you're not sure about what Title IX is, basically it's the section of the educational amendment pack, I guess, of amendments that says that you can't discriminate based on sex. Now, what Obama is saying is that you should interpret that as sex or gender, and basically allowing the transgendered students to be covered under Title IX of the Constitution of those particular acts. So, he's not issuing an executive order, although executive orders are mainly how the president gives guidance on things. But it wasn't phrased that way when when Obama issued that executive order to release some people on these low drug related issues. that it was framed as an executive order. So I don't think that this was an executive order saying definitely this is how you need to interpret it, but he did issue guidance saying that you need to interpret it as sex and gender. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Title IX was passed in 1972. This was during a time when the people thought, like even doctors and professionals and whatnot, they considered gender dysphoria to be a disorder. But as we know now, it's not a disorder. It's just some people are born that way. There's actual medical science to suggest that they are physiologically different than the sex that they present as, or the gender that they present as. Now, um, of course, who I have up here is Lieutenant Governor uh, Dan. Sorry, I forget his name. Dan Patrick. He's the Lieutenant Governor of Texas, and he says that he's going to give up federal funding in order to continue to discriminate against transgendered students. This comes on the heels of a superintendent, Dr. Rodney Cavanis. I've got his picture. He is a superintendent that took to social media and the school system in general to say, quote, "I've got news for President Barack Obama. He ain't my president, and he can't tell me what to do. That letter is going straight to the paper shredder. I've got 5 daughters myself, and I have 2,500 girls in my protection. Their moms and dads expect me to protect them, and that is what I'm going to do. Now, I don't want them bullied, but there are accommodations that can be made short of this." I guess sure of this? I don't know. He, President Obama, or Obama Nazi, I'm sure is how he sees him now, is destroying the very fiber of this country. He is not a leader, he is a failure. I don't know about you guys, but this right here really does sound like a comment on the internet, doesn't it? I mean, I gotta tell you, with a Facebook page of about 91, almost 92,000 people on it, this is eerily similar to somebody that comes on there very highly charged emotionally and wants to take one little thing and say, "Hey, you're a failure. Your entire life's a failure because of this one little thing." And that's just what it seems like. Now, he says that he's going to put that guidance right into the paper shredder. Well, I'm sorry, but that's not going to change reality. Reality is Obama did issue the guidance, and if you don't follow it, it's possible. It's possible that you could lose federal funding for your schools. In general, when people haven't when people or districts or whatnot haven't followed Title IX, they subject themselves to lawsuits, which they are definitely going to lose, and since it violates Title IX. The other thing is that they could lose federal funding. Now, I don't think that any school district or whatnot has lost federal funding due to violating Title IX, but excuse me. Sorry. But in the same breath, I don't see this as Obama issuing like an executive order. I feel like he is putting in his 2 cents, which arguably could be, said to have actually be worth like 4 cents in this case. But he's throwing in his 2 cents here and saying how you should interpret Title IX, and if you if people agree that that's how you interpret it, then you are liable to lose federal funding. It's not a blanket statement saying, "I am going to take away your federal school funding if you don't do this." That's at least not how I'm taking it. If you disagree, please let me know in the comments below. Tell me how I'm wrong. Please try to explain to me how that works, because without it being an executive order, I don't see him as making some kind of grand sweeping actual like legal statement. It may not I mean it Casey says, "I disagree, you're wrong." That's fine. Let me know how I'm wrong, and I would love to have that discussion. But, uh, you know, the whole transgender issue goes a little bit beyond this, and you know, it even goes as far as our favorite guy. Don't you just love him? Look at him. He's so cute. He thinks he's doing internet stuff and he's being all smart and whatnot. Let's see what his ass has got to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's finally happening. The scariest day in America.
It's the scariest day in America? So you're saying that this surpasses 9/11? Now, hold your horses, pastor or pastoress, whatever the fuck, Lady Graham woman who actually said that God is punishing America with 9/11 because of transgender rights issues. Hold on, Graham. We got to finish up with this fuck first.
Been telling me, oh, you're overreacting. You just need to sit down and be silent for years. When I told them that there was a strategy behind everything that Obama was doing, and now we find out that Obama is sending a letter today with the Department of Education to every public school in America. It doesn't matter if they're a kindergarten classroom or a high school. He's sending a letter demanding that every one of their locker rooms and bathrooms now become transgender inclusive.
Okay. He's sending a letter. Oh no, it's the worst day in America. Holy shit, guys. This tops 9/11. This tops Pearl Harbor. This tops the polio vaccine or the polio virus overtaking our country. This trumps everything. Oh no, we said Trump. He's going to appear. If you say it 3 times in the mirror, Trump's definitely going to appear and make you drink some mother's milk.
And if they do not comply, they're going to face lawsuits and funding cuts.
Just a correction. He said it's possible that you could face lawsuits, and it's possible you could lose federal funding. Just saying.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a strong arm tactic I've been telling you was coming all along.
Well, let's just Nostradamus the fuck out of it then, Josh.
By a man that has a deviant plan for America. It's been a strategy. And you know who I want to blame? I want to blame every person that has been silent.
Yeah, all you Christians that follow him, you being silent and whatnot, you need to be in the Target stores. You need to be in there, and you need to be screaming at the top of your lungs that Target is the worst thing on earth. You need to be doing all that shit, or else you caused this directly. Let's just throw some more guilt on there with the guilt that's already been hurled at them already through your faith.
You see, the problem is this, is that we elected Obama on the motto and the mantra, yes, we can. But unfortunately, we forgot to ask him.
Wait, okay, so change was his first motto, and I guess the second motto was yes, we can? Okay. No, let's see what he says.
Finish that sentence. Yes, we can what? Tear up the Constitution?
Okay, I don't see how he's tearing up the Constitution. I don't see how he's done that at all.
Make him a dictator?
I don't think he's a dictator, although, you know, I have heard people say that his actions on this transgender issue are dictator-like, but I think that if he were to go the extra step to issue an executive order about it, it might seem dictatorish, maybe? I don't know. I'm still on the fence about that. If I was born inbred, would you be him? I don't know. I doubt it because you know, when I was a Christian, I was very embarrassed to be a Christian. But if I was inbred, then I'm more likely to be a little slow. So you know, I could be slow enough to where I think that I'm like the Dunning-Kruger effect could be. I could slow down enough. I think if I was inbred. You know, maybe I could be as slow as Joshua Feuerstein. I don't know how hard the brakes with the whole inbred thing go. Like, I don't know if it's like you're slamming on the brakes a little bit, or if it's like full force with the parking brake on. But, you know, that's probably what it would take in order for me to be this dumb.
To political correctness, shred the Second Amendment.
How is he he hasn't shredded the Second Amendment. Motherfucker, you post pictures on Facebook, Instagram. You even make your little movies with your fucking iPhone, all vertical and shit, with you teaching your kids how to fucking shoot a gun. And it's not even a real gun at that. It was a little, like, pellet BB pistol thing. Because you don't want to put a real gun in the hands of a child, and you know that. But you want other people to think that you actually would. So I guess this will be another case of a pastor lying, because I mean, he's not ripping up the Constitution. He's not ripping up the Second Amendment. He's not wiping his ass with it. Although there have been a number of like states that have actually seemingly wiped their ass with the Constitution. Mississippi being one right off the top of my noggin.
And make all of our school bathrooms open to perverts, weirdos, and sickos?
How are they not already? That's what I'm asking here. How are they not already open to them? Do you think that perverts, sickos, and all this other shit is going to be stopped by a sign on a door? Like, I would love for somebody to come forward and be like, yep, I thought about going to that women's restroom and molesting every single girl in there, but I hit that door and I saw it and it was like women only. I was like, oh shit, praise Jesus. I almost lost it there. I best go into the men's room. I don't ever see like a door stopping. I mean, predators have broken through doors. How about this? How about you start raising awareness of the pedophile uncle or the pedophile priest or pastor or clergyman or anything else in your own particular religion that has been known to predatorily seek out children. And they also get hidden by members because, members that are sympathetic to them because they say, well, I'm getting right with Jesus. And so they hide them. How about you focus on that a little bit there, Joshy boy?
Yes, we can. Well, I say no, we won't. Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, such a bold statement. You mean it's a statement like every other Christian has already said? Way to go, Josh.
The problem is that we have been too passive and we have been submitted into silence.
Too passive? Do you watch the news, motherfucker? I mean, seriously, do you I mean, it seems like you don't watch the news because if anything, Christians in America are not passive. They are so not passive that they actually take events and tragedies that happen in other fucking countries and try to directly apply it to their situation here. I've seen pastors use like the beheadings of Christians over in ISIS-occupied territories and say, see, they're persecuting us. We are persecuted throughout this land, and I can't believe it. So, if anything, they are not passive. They have not been passive about the transgendered bathroom bills. They haven't been passive at all for nothing. Josh? God damn, dude.
Because we've been too afraid of the liberal left attaching any of these buzzwords like transphobic, bigoted, homophobic, any of these things to.
Okay, none of you are afraid of that, though. Like, no Christian is afraid of that. They'll just argue, no, I'm not being bigoted. Oh, yeah? How are you not being bigoted? Well, because I'm going to force a man that's got lady bits to go into the men's restroom. Oh, wait, no, shit. That's not right. I mean, I'm going to force him to go into the women's restroom. Yeah. Oh, wait, shit. That's not what I want. Let's finish out that conversation with an actual Christian. Why don't we?
To us. And so we have been scared into silence. Ladies and gentlemen, I refuse to be.
Okay. Still, you fucking people aren't being silent about shit. Stop pushing this narrative that you are. You're on Facebook shouting this shit, Josh, along with all the other Christians out there that are very devoted to their faith. You're not alone, and nobody's being silent, Josh.
Silent, and you should be silent no more, because we need more people that are willing to stand up and say, no, we won't. We won't allow this to happen to America. And I pray that today is a wake-up call for America, a wake-up call that there is a strategy, that there is a plan in place to destroy the family, to destroy every one of our Christian values, that there is a plan. And Obama is the pawn, the one that's making all of this happen.
Yep, he's part of the Illuminati conspiracy too. Yep, he sure as fuck is. He's the head of the Illuminati. Well, no, he's the puppet head of the Illuminati. He's getting all jerked around by the Illuminati, wanting them to come out here and then start the NWO. And then there's wireless transmitters in our backs put there by the army. And yeah, so that's what that is. We need a tinfoil hat for this guy.
We must fight back. We must be silent no more. So today I challenge you.
Ooh, you challenge us to what? Share if you care?
Pull your kids from school.
Oh, okay. Pull your kids from school. All right. So tell me, Josh, pulling your kids from school. A number of homeschool, Christian programs have shown to not accurately prepare kids for college life. Like, in fact, there's been multiple lawsuits and whatnot that occur because universities won't accept homeschooled Christian kids that go with their own shit. You know why? That's because they don't end up learning how to read and stuff. I mean, a lot of people make fun of me for being an Alabama hick, acting like all we've got is dirt roads down here and we just like to scoot our asses on the floor to wipe our ass. But at the same time, at least, in our schools, we can actually read shit. Whereas these Christian homeschoolers, they get out and they can't even read a Dr. Seuss book. So yeah, sure, pull your kids out of school because Uncle Johnny at home needs a play toy.
Write a letter. Make a phone call. I don't care how small or big your action is.
Ooh, action. I thought he was going to go a different way. I thought he was going to say, wang or junk or something.
Take action. Start by sharing this video. Help.
See? Take action. Start by sharing this video. I knew it. I knew he was going to say that. And right now, I just wish I had a John Cena thing. It's like, take action right now by bum, bum, bum.
Inform the rest of the American public what's going on today.
Okay, the rest of the American public does know what's going on today. You're not the first-hand news source there, Josh. You learn when everybody else does.
God bless. Have a beautiful day. Please click share if you care.
You care.
Ladies and
share if you care. Oh, man. But like I said before, Franklin Graham's daughter is a pastor, and she is directly attributing these transgendered rights laws to contributing to 9/11, even though 9/11 happened September 11th, 2001, and this issue is like, I don't know, like a decade or more late. I guess God's retroactive in his punishment for America, but at least that's according to Miss Graham here. But just to really highlight why this issue is really important, this young lady right here, she lives in Kentucky, in Paintsville, Kentucky. Brittany Nicole Wallace. She was recently beaten, like bad, by some big burly guy who said she looked too masculine. It says right here on her post that is now privated because it's garnered so much attention. Today I was assaulted. A man assaulted me because I look like a dyke. He told me that he would beat me like the man I want to be. He said people like me make him hate the world. He started hitting me over and over in the face until he got me down. After I was down, he began to kick me in the stomach, side, and face. Anyone that knows me knows that I tried my best to fight back. The truth is, he was bigger and stronger than me. I believe that if I had long hair and dressed more feminine, this would not have happened to me. The sad part is that no one would come help me either. Several people stood around and watched this happen to me. Again, I truly believe that if I had a more feminine appearance, someone would have helped. This has not only physically but mentally and emotionally damaged me. I will do everything I can to try to stop put a stop to this hate and violence. I love people and try to help them all the time. I would like to kind of play something really quick right here. I'm not going to be able to play the entire thing, but crap. But okay, look, this is definitely worth it. So you guys are just going to have to hold on one quick second, okay?
Glory, now and forever. Amen.
Thank you, Father McElpenny, for coming all the way across town to be our guest speaker.
When I whet my flashing sword, and my hand takes hold on judgment, I will take vengeance upon mine enemies, and I will repay those who hate me. Oh,
Time ago, almost remember, long as you all may remember, long time ago, almost 30 years ago, assailant walked away. Now, we must all fear evil men. But there is another kind of evil which we must fear most, and that is the indifference of good men.
So yeah, it was that last little bit right there. Now I know that there's a little bit of contention surrounding the event that pastor or priest was actually mentioning there, but I thought it was worth mentioning here that the indifference of good people, doing nothing in these kind of situations is as harmful, if not, more so than the actual guy doing the beating. If this now I will say that all we have is her story, not to paint doubt on her being sincere about it. She's got pictures and everything to prove it, but I mean, if this doesn't turn out to be completely true and everything, it still merits saying that the if you see bad shit like this going on, tackle the motherfucker. Me personally, I would happily go sit my ass in a jail cell because I tackled somebody that was beating on a woman like this. It doesn't matter what she looks like. You're a fucking dick for doing it. So I just think that this story right here, this woman, her face should really be the face that you think about when you hear about these transgendered issues, rights, and everything. Just saying. Okay, so finally, gonna talk about our last subject here. I know that I've really run over late, but that was kind of important, I felt, to really talk about and discuss. But as we, one of the headline here is that a person was recently sent to a clinic where they actually replaced his meds with the Bible. Alex Jacobson, 26, was suffering from mental exhaustion and anxiety. He hadn't slept in days despite being in a faith-based treatment program. He felt hopeless, and when he spotted a box knife, he grabbed it and held it against his neck, pressing hard enough to cut the skin. Apparently, all this happened in about 10 days. He was in a discipleship program he checked himself into and was run by 2 Assembly of God pastors. And basically, they try to treat all of these things that you would normally go to a fucking doctor for, and you would try to treat them, with actual medicine. But they wanted to treat them with good old God. And apparently, God doesn't work. I mean, anybody could have told you that, but apparently these guys didn't get the fucking memo. Um, but uh, the reason why I wanted to bring this up was because I myself suffer from depression, and I myself have had thoughts of suicide when I was younger, and even more recently, as recent as maybe a couple years ago, I think. And so I think that to tell somebody that they just need to get right with God when they're suffering from these things, when they're suffering depression and whatnot, I mean, is a real big slap in the face, especially if they already believe in God, because that means that apparently the way that they're believing in God isn't right. Who are you to tell them that they're believing in God's not right? Now, I know me, I criticize some people at times by saying, well, you're not really following the Bible if you don't kill a homosexual or whatnot. But I mean, normally I'm saying that to people who are being bigoted but aren't really following through with it, saying that, okay, well, if you're going to be that bigoted, then you might as well go with full 9. You know what I'm talking about? And but to sit there and tell somebody, well, you just need to get right with God. You don't need these meds. You don't need these meds that are going to fix the chemical imbalances in your head. You can will these balances back into balance, and just by praising God the correct way, because apparently you're not doing it correctly. And for this young man to be suffering like this and only have people tell him, well, just pray to God. It's like you pray to God and then nobody answers. Nobody does anything. You don't Nostradamus the fuck out of answers. You don't do any of that shit. And so what are you left with? You're left in the fetal position on your bed crying to God for him to answer. That's what you're left with. Okay? And I just think that it's really dickish for somebody to use God in lieu of medicine. And that goes for the faith healing parents as well, because this is pretty akin to that. And I just it really does. It makes me mad. It makes me sad to hear about these things. And I really wish somebody would slap sense into these people. God is not a substitute for medicine. God is not a substitute for therapy. God is not a substitute for any of that stuff. What you're left with is a suicidal person seeking advice from a suicidal person. And I'm not you I guess maybe you could argue that about, some of the alcoholic programs where you have partners or whatnot. But you see, in that, you're not hiding the fact that you're talking to another alcoholic or another person that's addicted to some other narcotics. They don't hide that fact. But you're supposed to hide the fact that you're really just talking to yourself with God. I just think that's detrimental. Anyways, that is the stand up for tonight. I appreciate you guys sticking it out with me, watching me tonight. I will be playing Borderlands the pre-sequel over on Godless Engineer Plays. I hope that you will visit me there. And just keep an eye out for Wednesday. Wednesday we'll be doing another stand up. If this is your first time here watching stand up, the stand up is geared to answer 3 questions, and that is, what are we working on? What have we accomplished? And what is holding us back? And this last story was definitely holding us back in society in general, and that's why it made it into that slot. So yeah, great. I'm glad you did too. I would like to give a shout out to Main Gun and Chris, Gray Diddy, I guess is how you're supposed to say it. No Privacy, John Tuttle. He lives in Texas, and it does in fact blow. I'm sure it blows many a large dick. But I just appreciate everybody that is watching and commenting and whatnot. Please hashtag junk, and I hope that you'll join me Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. for for another stand up where we talk about these same issues. I will see you guys later. Y'all take it easy, and always look at the sources down below. Look at all this stuff down below. Develop your own opinions. Don't just use my opinion. Think for yourself. Don't just take what I say as ironic as it is, the gospel truth. I'll see you guys later.